You're still up, right? I get it. Nights like these replay in your head the moment someone you love takes your breath away for all the wrong reasons. My name doesn't matter. What matters is the sound of laughter that wasn't meant for me. Tonight was my birthday. 34 candles, Italian restaurant, the kind with string lights that make everything look softer than it really is. I was smiling, pretending, holding the knife to cut my own cake when she said it. I'm pregnant. The air changed. Chairs scraped. Glasses clinked. Hands clapped too loudly for the size of the room. Her boyfriend kissed her cheek, and I kept smiling. Because that's what you do when the floor tilts under your feet. You keep smiling so you don't fall. Claire, my best friend since college, the one who knew every injection, every failed round, every night I cried in her car outside the fertility clinic. She knew. She knew I'd just gotten the call 2 days ago. My third IVF had failed, and still, she chose tonight. The waiter poured champagne, bubbles climbing like they were racing to escape. Someone shouted, "Make a wish!" I almost laughed. I closed my eyes anyway, because habits are older than grief. When I opened them, she was touching her stomach, out of instinct, or maybe rehearsal. She said, "We weren't even trying." I heard nothing after that, just the sound of my heartbeat hitting the back of my throat. I nodded, because nodding uses fewer muscles than telling the truth. Marcus, my husband, squeezed my hand beneath the table. His thumb moved in slow circles, an apology he couldn't say out loud. Everyone was still cheering, cameras flashing. The candles melted into small, dying suns. The room smelled of sugar and smoke and someone else's future. I wanted to disappear before anyone noticed the way my smile was starting to shake. The waiter asked if I wanted to take the rest of the cake home. I said yes, because I couldn't think of any other way to end the scene. I held that white box like it was proof that something belonged to me. Outside, the night pressed close, warm, heavy, too quiet. The city lights blurred through the windshield as Marcus drove. We didn't speak. There are silences that live longer than words. This was one of them. At home, I set the cake on the counter. The kitchen smelled of candles and cold frosting. I turned on the bathroom light. The mirror was too honest. The test from 2 days ago was still there, face down beside the sink. I turned it over again, just to check, even though I knew. One line, again, always again. There's a sound your body makes when it stops hoping. It's quiet, but it echoes everywhere. My phone buzzed, a message from her. "Thank you for tonight. Couldn't have done it without you." I read it twice, then I deleted it. Then I typed "congratulations" and didn't send it. The city outside kept moving. Cars, laughter, life. I stood there, holding my phone like it could steady me. The cake box was still on the counter, half open, frosting smudged like mascara. I took the smallest bite. It tasted like nothing. I don't remember going to bed, only that the dark felt softer than the truth. I kept hearing her voice, her excitement, her surprise. We weren't even trying. The words looped like a cruel lullaby. That's how the night ended. But not the story, because 3 weeks later, I found out it wasn't an accident. And that's when everything changed. I lay there and watched the ceiling learn the dark, the hum of the fridge, the whisper of cars, the faint tick of the hallway clock. Every sound louder because my body had gone quiet. I tried to pray, but only managed a list. Please let this be easier. Please let me be kinder. Please let me stop counting. The phone buzzed again. A photo this time. The table, the candles. My hands mid-clap. Her caption. The best surprises find you when you're not even looking. I put the phone face down. The room still glowed like it had swallowed the picture. I got up, padded to the sink, and ran the tap until the water turned warm. Steam fogged the mirror into a softer stranger. I traced a circle and found my eyes staring back, red at the edges, stubborn in the middle. I rinsed a glass, filled it, held it with both hands like a small animal that needed calming. Marcus stood in the doorway, hair sleet mussed, t-shirt creased. He didn't ask questions, he just opened his arms. I stepped in and let my forehead rest against his collarbone. His heartbeat was steady, ordinary, human. A rhythm that did not require a miracle. Morning came anyway. It always does, even when you're not ready. Light made stripes across the bed. The apartment smelled like coffee and last night's candles. Marcus moved through the kitchen with that careful quiet of someone trying not to wake the wounded. I was awake. I'd been awake since 4:03, watching the numbers flip like they were daring me to breathe different. The phone on my nightstand hummed against the wood. 40-something notifications. Group chat blooming with congratulations. Hearts, baby bottles, prayer hands. Messages multiplying like cells dividing, creating something I couldn't. Marcus appeared in the doorway with my blue mug. The good vibes only one his sister thought was funny. Today it felt like archaeology, evidence of a version of me who thought optimism could be poured. You don't have to respond, he said, nodding to the phone. Not today. I nodded. Words are expensive in the morning. We drank in a silence that knew our names. Shower, steam, mirror gone kind around the edges. I pressed 2 fingers under my eyes and told them not to give me away. Black jeans, grey sweater, the uniform of disappearing. In the glass, I looked like myself, photocopied too many times, the ink running low. We ate at the table with the cake box between us like an unwanted guest. Wax flecks. A canyon where the first slice had gone. The strawberries had sunk into the cream like little hearts that forgot how to float. Claire, are you awake? Last night was... I love you. Call me? 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. She was editing honesty into something presentable. I typed, congratulations, and erased it. I typed, why my birthday, and erased it. I put the phone face down and called it a boundary. Work didn't care what night I'd survived. The calendar did what calendars do. 11, 2:30. Repeat. I sat in a meeting and heard my voice from somewhere outside my body, competent, helpful, like nothing in me had cracked. People nodded. My chest hurt with how good I was at pretending. At lunch, I opened the photo I'd been avoiding. String lights, frosting, my hands mid-clap, her hand mid-belly. Caption: the best surprises come on the sweetest nights. My finger hovered over the heart. I scrolled the comments instead, searching for mercy and finding choreography. "I knew it," someone wrote, and the past tense sat there like a smug little throne. Marcus texted, "Dinner at home? I'll cook." Which meant pasta, the good kind, the kind he makes when he's trying to stitch me back together, with garlic and presents. The afternoon stretched. I did small things on purpose, refilled water, answered emails, pretended that drinking water is the same as being okay. The body believes little lies if you feed them gently enough. Claire again. "Can we talk? I feel like you've been distant." Distant. As if distance were a choice I'd made and not a country, grief stamped in my passport without asking. On the train home, a toddler fogged a circle on the window with her breath and laughed at the miracle of it. I looked away before the sound could find the sore part. At the door, Marcus kissed my temple. The news murmured on mute while sauce simmered. 2 plates, 2 forks, 2 napkins folded like he'd practiced. We ate in the kind of silence that's both comfortable and unbearable, forks ticking, glasses touching. The unspoken conversation louder than any words. After dishes, I opened her messages again. "I wanted you to hear it first. I should have told you sooner. I didn't want to overshadow you." 3 reasons lined up like siblings that don't like each other. I typed, "You knew about the call." I typed, "Why last night?" I typed, "I can't do this." I erased them all. I am not proud of what I did next. I searched her name, fell through links like trapdoors, found a grid that arranged the last 6 months without me. A dress I recognized, a corner of a restaurant I knew like the inside of my mouth, a burst of gold mylar letters, "Oh baby," blurry in the background like the alphabet had learned to shout. I tapped a video, confetti cannon, off-camera squeals, someone saying, "Again," and the room obeying. The caption, "Practice run." Location, Lucia's. Not last night. Before. My stomach went cold. I scrolled higher. A waiting room selfie, cream dress, careful smile. The sign behind her was half-cropped, but the font was a friend I didn't want to recognize. Riverside Fertility Clinic. The same clinic where I had cried in the parking lot, where I had texted her to... The buzzer sounded. It kept sounding, like a question that wouldn't take no for an answer. Marcus looked at me. I looked at the door. Nobody moved. The apartment felt suddenly too bright. Kitchen light like daylight, and every surface honest. "I'll get it," he said, already walking. I stood in the hall and watched him on the small video screen. Claire's face, pale and excited, filled the frame. Hair pulled back like this was a shift she had to show up for. She lifted her hand and waved at the camera like it was a child. He pressed the button. The door downstairs clicked. We listened to her footsteps climbing, the hurried rhythm of someone who wants to be first to their own side of the story. When Marcus opened our door, she came in with air, already talking. I know, I should have called. I shouldn't have just... Can I just... She held a bakery bag like a peace offering, the kind with 2 sourdough croissants and a ribbon that says, "Forgiveness is butter and flour." Up close, she smelled like grapefruit and rain. Same perfume as last night. Less celebration today. She didn't hug me. She aimed the hug at the room and let it miss. "I wanted to talk face to face," she said. "Text is so cruel." Cruel. The word made space between us. Marcus hovered at the counter, hands flat, like he was keeping the apartment from sliding into the street. "I'll make tea," he said, which was almost a synonym for truce. We sat. The cake box was still there, lid ajar. A witness who refused to lie. Claire placed the bakery bag beside it. For a second, we stared at the 2 boxes, like they were arguing about sweetness. "I'm sorry," she said finally. I believed her mouth. I didn't believe the timeline inside it. "I wanted you to hear it from me first," she started. "You rehearsed it," I said. It surprised me how calm I sounded, like I was reading the weather. Her eyes flickered, blink, blink, tiny shudders against a flash. It wasn't like that. Marcus set a mug in front of each of us and sat at the edge of a chair like he might leap if we needed him to. "Claire," he said, level, "there's a video." She closed her eyes like the word video had a smell. "Whose?" "Does it matter?" I asked. She opened the bag, took out the croissants, broke one in half with slow care. Flakes scattered like a small snowfall. "I panicked," she said. "I knew I had to tell you before it went online. People were going to post." "You mean you posted?" I said. She didn't deny it. She passed me half a croissant like communion. I didn't take it. "I thought if I did it in person, it would hurt less," she said. "I thought being honest would be kind." "Kind would have been waiting," Marcus said softly. Claire looked at him like she had forgotten he had a mouth. "You're right," she said, and somehow that didn't change anything. I folded my hands so I wouldn't measure them, shaking. "How long?" She didn't ask what I meant. 9 weeks, she said. Yesterday. The number hit the table and rolled between the mugs. 9 weeks, I repeated. So the surprise party last week. It wasn't a party, she said too fast. It was just, people were there. I didn't plan the practice run, I said. Her mouth opened and then closed, twice, like something small had flown in and then out again. She tried for a different door. "I was going to tell you earlier," she said. I drafted a message. Every version felt wrong. You were at Riverside, I said, 6 months ago. She flinched, like I had found a bruise she'd been protecting. Yes. You never told me. I didn't want to make it a competition, she said, whispering the last word like it was obscene. I didn't want to be another weight on your chest. The room tilted a degree. You watched me, I said. You drove me home. You sat on my couch and pretended not to see the sharps container. You knew every mile I was running, and you didn't say you were running too. Tears gathered in her eyes like they were late to work. If I failed, I'd give you a new grief. If I succeeded, I didn't know where to put it. She stared at the croissant she'd broken. I didn't know how to be happy without hurting you. Marcus cleared his throat. Same doctor? Claire shook her head. Different clinic now. Private. They said we had a window. We took it. I heard the capital letters in window. And the rehearsal? She stared at the tea steam like it would answer for her. My sister wanted to practice the timing so I wouldn't freeze. Freeze, I said. The words sat in my mouth like metal. You were worried you'd freeze. I was worried I wanted you to fall where I could catch you. The words hung there, beautiful and wrong at the same time. Like a painting of a house on fire, Marcus stood up, poured his tea down the sink even though it was still hot. The water ran loud enough to be a fourth voice in the room. Claire was crying now. Not the dramatic kind. The kind where tears just happen, like rain you forgot to check the forecast for. I don't know what you want me to say, she said. I can't undo it. I can't. I don't want to undo it. And there it was. The truth underneath the apology. She didn't want to undo it. She wanted me to forgive it. Those are different countries. I looked at the croissant halves on the table. Flaky, golden, still warm, probably. The kind of thing that looks like care but costs $3. When did you find out? I asked. That it worked. She wiped her face with the heel of her hand. 3 weeks ago. The day after your beta. The day after my beta came back negative. The day I'd texted her, not this time either, and she'd sent back a heart and I'm so sorry. She'd known. That day. She'd been sorry and pregnant in the same breath. Why didn't you tell me then? My voice came out smaller than I meant it to. I was scared, she said. Every day I waited made it harder. And then your birthday was coming, and I thought, if I did it somewhere public, with people around, you wouldn't have to. Wouldn't have to what? Marcus asked. He'd turned now, leaning against the sink, arms crossed like he was holding himself in place. Claire looked at him, then at me. Wouldn't have to pretend to be happy for me alone. Wouldn't have to carry it by yourself in some dark apartment at 2 a.m. The thing is, she wasn't wrong. Not completely. If she'd told me alone, coffee shop, phone call, text at midnight, I would have shattered in private. I would have had to hold all the pieces by myself until I could glue them back into something that looked like a person. But this way she'd made me shatter in public, in front of a birthday cake, in front of string lights and strangers with phones. She'd tried to choose the kindest knife, forgot that all knives cut. "I wanted to protect you," she said. "From what?" I asked. "From your happiness? From my grief? From the fact that your body worked and mine didn't?" She flinched. "I didn't mean it like that." "How did you mean it?" She opened her mouth, closed it, tried again. "I meant, I didn't want this to be the thing that broke us. Us. As if we were still a unit. As if the last 3 years hadn't already bent us into shapes that no longer fit together. I thought about all the times she'd driven me home from appointments, sat in my car while I cried, brought soup when the hormones made me sick, held my hand through ultrasounds that showed nothing, all while she was running her own race, all while she was hoping the same hopes, praying the same prayers. Maybe that's what hurt most. Not that she'd succeeded, but that she'd hidden that she was even trying. She'd let me think I was the only one drowning. Let me be the designated broken friend, the cautionary tale, the one who got too old, tried too late, whose body said, "Not you." When really, we'd both been underwater. She'd just learned to hold her breath better. "I think you should go," Marcus said. Not mean, just honest. Claire looked at me, waiting for me to override him, waiting for me to say it was okay, that I understood, that we could fix this with time and tea and one more apology. But I was so tired. Tired of being strong. Tired of being the bigger person. Tired of celebrating everyone else's good news, while mine stayed stubbornly, impossibly absent. "Yeah," I said. "I think that's best." She stood up slowly, like maybe if she moved carefully enough, she could rewind the last 5 minutes, could unsay the practice run, unpost the announcement, unhappen the whole night. But time only moves one direction, even when you're drowning. She picked up her bag, left the croissants, stopped at the door with her hand on the knob. "I really am sorry," she said. "I know that doesn't fix anything, but I am." Morning came gray and unforgiving. The kind of light that makes everything honest. Marcus was already dressed when I opened my eyes. Jacket, keys, silence. "You don't have to go," he said. "I do," I said. "I need to see it. I need to know." The city felt louder that morning. Traffic, horns, rain hitting windshields. Even the sky sounded impatient. We didn't talk on the drive. The clinic was only 20 minutes away, but it felt longer, like time was stretching itself to make sure I had enough space to change my mind. I didn't. I'd already rehearsed every word I might say. None of them felt right, but I needed to try. When we pulled up, the building looked smaller than I remembered. White walls, glass doors, the same potted plant by the reception desk, still dying in slow motion. The sign said, "Riverside Fertility Center." My stomach flipped. I'd walked through those doors for years, chasing a miracle that never came. And she'd been here too. I pushed the door open. The smell hit first. Hand sanitizer, cheap coffee, and something sterile underneath. The receptionist looked up, smile ready, professional. "Good morning. Do you have an appointment?" "No," I said. "I need to see Dr. Lin." Her fingers froze over the keyboard. "Is she expecting you?" "Tell her it's Laura. She'll remember." The waiting room was half full. Women holding clipboards, couples whispering over pamphlets, the sound of hope humming low like an air conditioner. I sat in the corner. Marcus stayed standing, arms crossed, his reflection blurred in the glass. When Dr. Lin appeared, her face softened with concern. "Laura, are you all right?" "Depends," I said. "Did you know one of your videos used footage of me?" Her brows knitted. "What video?" I handed her my phone. The clip was still on my screen, the one from Claire's post, the one showing my face, crying, in the background of her interview. Dr. Lin's eyes widened. "This shouldn't exist. That was internal documentation, never public." She gestured for us to follow her to her office. The door shut with a quiet click that sounded too final. "Claire volunteered for our Patient Stories project," Dr. Lin said carefully. "But the footage you're describing was never meant to include anyone else." "It did," I said. "It included me." She looked genuinely shaken. "I'll contact our legal team. We'll have it removed immediately." Marcus leaned forward. "You filmed my wife without consent." Dr. Lin's hands trembled slightly. "You're right. I'm sorry. It was never supposed to leave this building." I wanted to believe her. But belief felt expensive these days. "And Claire?" I asked. "Did she know?" Dr. Lin hesitated. "She signed the release, but I can't speak for what she saw in the final cut." My heart dropped. Signed the release. She'd seen it. She'd seen me crying in the background and said yes anyway. Dr. Lin excused herself to make calls. We waited in silence. The hum of the fluorescent light filled the room like static. Marcus reached for my hand, but I couldn't feel it. Everything inside me had gone very still. When the door opened again, I expected Dr. Lin. It wasn't her. It was Claire. She froze in the doorway. No makeup, eyes red. Same beige coat from that night. "Laura," she said, "I didn't know you'd be here." "Apparently you didn't know a lot of things," I said quietly. She looked at Marcus, then back at me. "They called me about the video. I came straight over. I swear I didn't know they used that clip." "But you signed the release," Marcus said. Claire's voice cracked. "I thought it was just me. My interview. I didn't realize." I stood up. My knees felt weak, but anger kept me upright. "You should have realized," I said. "You, of all people, should have known what that moment was." Her eyes filled again. "I'm so sorry." "You keep saying that," I said, "and somehow it keeps meaning less." The air felt heavy. Even the receptionist outside had stopped typing. Dr. Lin re-entered, holding her phone. "The post is being taken down now," she said. I nodded, but it didn't matter. Once something's seen, it never really disappears. Claire reached for my arm. Please, Laura. I stepped back. No. You already took enough. She froze there, hand half raised, apology caught in her throat. Marcus touched my shoulder. Let's go. As we walked out, I caught our reflection in the glass door. Me, Marcus, and behind us, Claire, small and blurred. I almost didn't recognize myself. I looked like someone who'd finally stopped pretending everything was fine. Outside, the rain had started again, the kind that soaks through slow, no matter how fast you walk. Marcus opened the umbrella, but the wind caught it, turning it inside out. We laughed once, short, broken, then didn't speak again. The drive home was quiet. Wipers swiping back and forth like a metronome counting down what was left of us. The city blurred by. Signs, people, lights. Everything looked cleaner when you didn't look too close. When we reached the apartment, the air inside felt stale, like it had been holding its breath while we were gone. Marcus hung his coat. I went straight to the sink, washed my hands, though there was nothing to wash off. Some habits are just ways of pretending control. You did the right thing, he said. I nodded, didn't feel it. The right thing doesn't always feel right. It just feels done. He made tea. We sat on the couch, mugs between us, steam curling upward like the ghosts of every word we didn't say. The video would be gone soon. Deleted. Buried under other news. But the image of it was still looping behind my eyes, me crying while she smiled. Proof that the world had seen my breaking as background noise. Marcus reached for my hand. What now? I stared at the dark window. I don't know. Maybe nothing. He nodded. That was the thing about Marcus. He didn't fill silence. He just stayed inside it with me. We watched the rain for a while, each drop chasing another down the glass like they were racing for an ending. My phone buzzed. Once, then again. I didn't move. Marcus looked at me. You don't have to check it. I know, but I already was. The screen lit up. A message. Unknown number. Just 3 words. Check your email. My stomach dropped. No name, no context, just that. I opened my inbox. 1 new message, no subject line. Inside, there was a single link. I hesitated, hovered over it. My reflection stared back from the laptop screen, eyes swollen, hair damp from the rain. A woman balanced between curiosity and collapse. I clicked. The page loaded slow, like it knew what it was about to do. A video window, black thumbnail, no title. I pressed play. The sound hit before the image, voices echoing, too familiar. Claire's laugh, my own voice trembling. The clinic hallway, a hidden camera angle. The footage was rough, shaky. The two of us sitting side by side in the waiting room, me staring at the floor, Claire rubbing her hands together, whispering something I couldn't hear. Then the audio shifted. A man's voice, one of the doctors, I think, saying, "They both think they're the only one." Then laughter. Not mine, not hers. Someone else's. Someone recording it. I stopped breathing. The clip ended abruptly. The screen froze on my face, eyes closed, lips pressed tight, the moment before I broke. Underneath, one line of text appeared. "You deserve to know who filmed it." I sat there, staring at those words until they blurred. Marcus leaned in. "What is it?" I turned the screen toward him. His jaw tightened. "Where did this come from?" "I don't know," I said. "But someone wants me to find out." He took my phone, scrolled back to the message. No sender name, no trace. Just the words. "Check your email." Like an invitation or a warning. The rain had stopped outside, but the thunder kept rolling in my chest. "We'll call the clinic," Marcus said. "They'll know." "Maybe," I said. "Or maybe they already do." The screen dimmed. The reflection stared back again. Me. The woman who used to think truth would set her free. Turns out, truth just makes the walls thinner. The next morning came early. I hadn't really slept. The message replayed in my head, those 3 words. "Check your email." Marcus brewed coffee we didn't drink. The smell filled the kitchen like something pretending to be comfort. "We should go back," he said. "Show them the video." I nodded, but my stomach tightened. Going back meant seeing her again. Seeing the place again. The white walls. The chair where I'd sat after my 3rd failed cycle. The one she'd later sit in and smile for the camera. We drove in silence. Every red light felt longer. Every street looked like it knew something I didn't. By the time we reached the clinic, the receptionist's face changed the second she saw me. Recognition mixed with guilt. "Dr. Lin will see you right away," she said. Her voice was tight, like she was holding something back. We followed her down the hall. Same posters, same smell of disinfectant and peppermint air freshener. Only now the air felt heavier, thicker, like the truth itself had weight. Dr. Lin looked up from her desk. "Laura, Marcus, I was about to call you." Her eyes darted to the folder in front of her. "We've traced the video." My heart kicked once, hard. "And? It was filmed by an intern," she said. "But not one of ours." "What does that mean?" Marcus asked. "It means someone accessed our network remotely," Dr. Lin said. "A data breach. Whoever it was recorded during multiple appointments." My throat went dry. So this person, whoever it is, has other footage? She nodded. Yes. And they sent you that link for a reason. She turned her monitor toward us. Lines of code, timestamps, IP addresses. None of it made sense to me. This one, she said, pointing. It's the same address used when the file was uploaded publicly. The same one that emailed you. Do you know who it is? We're still investigating, she said. But the address belongs to someone connected to a patient. Someone close. Claire. The word didn't leave my mouth, but it echoed anyway. Dr. Lin hesitated, then said it for me. She's aware of the situation. She's coming in today. Good, Marcus said. Then we'll wait. An hour passed, then another. The clock on the wall clicked too loud. I kept replaying the video in my mind. The doctor's voice saying, they both think they're the only one. It wasn't just cruel, it was deliberate. Someone wanted to be caught. Finally, the door opened. Claire stepped in. No coat this time, just that same beige sweater. Her face pale, eyes swollen. I didn't send it, she said before sitting down. But you knew, I said. Didn't you? She looked away. I knew something was wrong when they emailed me last night, too. They, Marcus said. Whoever recorded it, Claire said. They sent me a message, too. What did it say? She swallowed hard. He told me to stop lying. The room went still. Who's he? I asked. She shook her head. I thought it was a troll, but now. Dr. Lin's phone buzzed. She checked it, frowned. We've just been alerted. Another video was uploaded. My chest tightened. What video? She turned her screen. There we were again. Different angle. Same day. The caption read, "The truth doesn't belong to one person." Claire gasped. Marcus swore under his breath. I stared at the screen until my vision blurred. Turn it off, I whispered. Dr. Lin clicked out, hand trembling. I'll contact the authorities. But I wasn't thinking about the police. I was thinking about the word truth. Whoever this was, they weren't just exposing something. They were telling a story. My story. Her story. Both of ours. And somehow, they thought it belonged to them. When we left the clinic, the sky had cleared. The sun felt wrong on my skin. Too bright, too soon. Marcus squeezed my hand. We'll fix this, he said. I nodded, but my eyes stayed on the clouds. Because somewhere in that blue was someone watching. That night, another message arrived. No words this time. Just a single image. 2 chairs, side by side, in that same waiting room. And a caption that said, "You were never alone." Reflection. My pulse jumped. Where? Here, he said, pointing to the chrome armrest. A faint shape, blurry but human. Not Claire, not me, not Dr. Lin. Someone else, holding a phone. We took the image to the police. They were polite, unimpressed, promised to log it as harassment. The officer's pen scratched slowly, like boredom in motion. "Could be a prank," he said. "People online do this for attention." I wanted to ask what kind of person films grief for attention, but I didn't. I just signed the form and left. Outside the station, the air felt thinner, like even breathing needed permission. Marcus squeezed my shoulder. "We'll find them." "Will we?" I asked. "Or will they keep finding us first?" That afternoon, I went for a walk alone. The city looked the same, but I didn't. My reflection in shop windows looked like a ghost wearing my clothes. At a red light, my phone buzzed again. No message, just a notification. New shared file from unknown. I clicked before I could think. A folder opened. 10 videos, all labeled with dates. Every date was one of my appointments. I felt the ground tilt. Someone had been recording me for months. The most recent file was yesterday's date. I pressed play. The screen filled with static. Then, me. Sitting in the clinic lobby, clutching my purse, eyes down. Behind me, a man in a blue jacket holding a clipboard. He wasn't staff. I remembered him now. I'd seen him once before, by the elevators, pretending to text. He looked straight into the camera, then walked away. The clip ended. I checked the next one. Another day, another angle. Each one closer than the last. Whoever this was, they were circling me, learning my patterns. The final video stopped with a freeze frame on my face. Underneath, a new line of text appeared. "He told you lies." I stared until the words blurred. Lies? About what? Marcus leaned over my shoulder. "Who's he?" "I don't know," I said. But I did. Deep down, I knew exactly who they meant. Because the only man who'd ever told me everything was going to be okay was the same doctor who'd said, "You still have time." And maybe he was the one running out of it. Morning tasted like metal. I could feel it in my mouth, that copper edge you get before a storm. We had an appointment. Not on paper, in my bones, with the man who once told me, gently, that I still had time. The clinic looked smaller again. I did not. I felt large with anger, heavy with sleep I hadn't had. Dr. Lin met us at the door and led us down a different corridor. Quiet, carpeted, too soft for the truth it held. He was already there. Blue jacket from the videos hung on the chair behind him like a witness. "Laura," he said, standing. "Marcus, please sit." I didn't. Sitting felt like agreeing. "You told me I had time," I said. "You said my numbers were fine." He folded his hands. "At the time, your AMH was within range." "Within range for who?" I asked. "For a brochure?" Marcus put a steadying hand on the back of my chair. I kept standing. "Someone filmed us," I said. "Not once. For months. In your lobby, in your halls." "We're investigating a breach," he replied. "This wasn't sanctioned." "But the patient story reel was," I said. "The one with my breakdown in the background, the one Claire signed." He looked away. The first honest movement of the morning. "Why tell me to wait?" I asked. "Why soothe me toward later when my labs said now?" He breathed through his nose, slow, because panic hurts outcomes, Laura. "I wanted to protect you." The knife again, wrapped in kindness. I could feel the cut. "Protect me from what?" I said. "From information? From my own choices?" He spread his hands. "From despair." Marcus's voice was low. "Did you know about the recording?" He shook his head. "Not until yesterday. But you recognized the voice," I said. Silence. "It sounded like a contractor," he said finally. "A videographer our outreach team used. He shouldn't have been filming outside set interviews." A contractor. A word that holds distance like a shield. "And the line?" I asked. "The one on the clip. They both think they're the only one. Who said it?" His jaw changed shape. "I did." The room tilted. Not from surprise. From confirmation. The kind that lands like a stone. "We were in the waiting room," I said. "I was holding my breath in pieces, and you were narrating." "It was careless," he said. "A bad attempt at gallows humor with the crew. I didn't mean." "Meaning is a small boat," I said. "Look what tide it sailed." He looked almost young then, like a man who finally sees the wreckage behind him and realizes he built it. "I will make this right," he said. "The videos will be removed. The vendor blacklisted. Formal apologies." "Apologies don't give back time," I said. "Or eggs." He closed his eyes for a second. Priest at a confession he can't absolve. "There's something else," he said quietly. "You should know it from me." The folder on his desk opened like a mouth. He slid a report across. "Your last cycle. The embryology notes." I didn't touch it. "Say it out loud." "We lost one on day 3 we didn't tell you about," he said. "We were hoping the day 5 blast would offset the blow." The sentence fell through me like glass. A small loss, hidden behind a bigger hope. "You decided what pain I could handle," I said. "I thought it was mercy," he said. "Mercy without consent is just control," Marcus answered for me. I sat then, not to agree, to keep from falling. "Why the message?" I asked. "Why he told you lies? Who sent that?" He frowned. "I don't know." And for once, I believed him. He gestured to the number scrawled in the file margin. The sender used a throwaway, but the uploads came from a nearby IP, the coffee shop across the street. I stood again. The motion felt like breathing. "We're done," I said. "Not because of the breach, because of the distance you kept calling care." He nodded. A man stripped of his script. "I understand." "One more thing," he added. "Claire didn't see your footage before she signed. It was added later. Sloppy editing." I checked the logs. My anger blinked, re-aimed. Not absolution, an adjustment. We left his office. The corridor felt longer, the carpet softer, the air wrong. At the front desk, I asked for copies of everything. Every lab, every note, every stray adjective written about my body. The receptionist nodded, eyes dark with the kind of sympathy that arrives late and means well. Outside, the coffee shop buzzed with easy morning. Laughter spilled over foam cups. Spoons sang against porcelain. Life went on, as if no one had ever lied or lost or wanted too much for something that never arrived. Marcus walked beside me without words. The recorder was in my pocket, its red light finally dark. A truth caught and contained, but still alive, humming under my skin. "You should eat," he said. I nodded, though food felt foreign. Hunger had been replaced by something heavier, like aftermath. The sky was washed out blue, the kind that promises rain. We crossed the street, reflections ghosting across shop windows. I could still hear the doctor's voice. I thought it was mercy. Mercy. A word that tastes like sugar until you remember who it was meant to save. At the corner, I stopped, pulled the recorder from my pocket. My thumb hovered over the play button. For a moment, I imagined releasing it, posting it, tagging names, letting the world decide who was right. Justice dressed as healing. But healing doesn't always look like exposure. Sometimes it's deletion. I pressed delete, watched the light blink twice, then vanish. The sound of the city filled the space it left behind. A bus braking, a child laughing. Ordinary life returning, like background music after a storm. We walked toward the park. Wet leaves gave under our steps. The air smelled like rain and soil. On a bench, I sat first. Marcus joined me, his hand finding mine without asking. Neither of us spoke. Some silences are conversations in disguise. Across the pond, a woman pushed a stroller. A pink hat peeped from the blanket. My breath caught, but didn't break. That was new. "You okay?" he asked. "Not yet," I said, "but I think I will be." I thought about beginnings, how ours had been a calendar full of circled dates and measured hope. I thought about endings, how sometimes they're just doors you stop standing in. A breeze came across the pond, small and careful. I let it lift my hair, my weight, the heaviness of trying. Claire's name floated up like a paper boat. Would she call? Would I answer? I didn't know, and maybe that was peace. My phone buzzed, a clinic reminder I'd forgotten to delete. I laughed softly. "Not today," I said, and swiped it away. The ache didn't leave. It rearranged. Sat somewhere less sharp, like a box moved to a lower shelf, reachable, not ruling. I closed my eyes. Behind them, I saw the message again. You were never alone. It used to haunt me. Now it felt like truth. The sun slipped through the clouds, warm, honest. Forgiveness without audience. "What now?" Marcus asked. "Now," I said, "I breathe." Maybe healing isn't the opposite of grief. Maybe it's learning to live beside it, quietly, honestly, awake. If you're struggling to get pregnant, and this story felt a little too close to home, go to theinfertilitysecrets.com. Discover the 7 signs your body gives before ovulation, the ones no doctor ever told you to look for. And if this story touched you, follow this channel. There are more stories waiting for you. I'm Laura Anderson. Take care of your heart.